Back in the kitchen. Kitus cooks and Sans Martin today. We had a nice guest this morning. It was fun. Today, afternoon-wise, what are we making? We are making tiramisu. I remember what it is. So it's an Italian dessert. It's very easy to make. It's not really baking. We're adding, what do we call it, lady fingers, which are cookies. So you could bake those yourself. We're not going to buy it. We bought them. We're not going to make them, but there's kind of, if you feel like making them, you can do it, okay? So let's get going. Really simple to do. Everybody thinks it's difficult. It's not. It's a very simple dessert to make. Okay, so we're going to start with, first thing we're going to make is what's called a sabayon. So that's basically an Italian custard, and what's involved in that is egg yolks. I got 6 of them right there. Take a look at that, Lee. I took the egg whites off. I'm going to add about 3/4 cup sugar right into that. Okay, we're going to stir that up, and then immediately I'll walk over here on my right on the stove. I've got some boiling water. It's called a water bath or a bain marie. And what we're going to do, we're going to put our eggs right over there. Make sure you have a towel to hold this with. It's kind of like when you make hollandaise sauce. Obviously with hollandaise sauce, you don't have sugar in the sauce. But what we're doing, we're cooking our sabayon. So typically a sabayon in Italy or in any parts, people who make it, it's basically egg yolks, sugar, and some type of flavoring, like kirsch or like white wine or something like that. We're not doing any of that. We're just doing the custard portion of it, which is the egg yolk and the and the sugar. Ooh. So look at that. What we're trying to do, we're going to whip it up, make sure it stays, it doesn't overcook. If you don't whip it, what's going to happen is the egg will stick to the bottom. It will start turning into scrambled eggs, and we don't want that. We want to just keep going like this. Keep moving my fingers around because they're burning. They're ultra hot right now. There's steam coming out. There's heat coming up from underneath. So you got to be ready for this if you're going to do it, okay? Always do it over the steam bath. It really is going to cook these eggs, or the custard, really quickly. You're going to go about 4 or 5 minutes, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. But just remember that steam is always going to stay at the same temperature in there. It's going to be a really constant, even heat. And that's exactly what we want. If you did it over just like an open flame or something, you would risk burning everything, and we don't want that. Okay, now see how I'm getting those lines when I'm whipping it, those lines are forming behind it, so that means it's getting cooked really nicely. It's almost ready to go. So I'm going to say, out of respect to my fingers, which are burning, baby, darn it. I'm gonna say this is cooked enough right now. I probably should cook it a little longer, but I'm tired of burning myself today. Okay, so here we go. We're good with this. I'm gonna pull it over to the side. What we want to do now is let it cool off a bit, because we're gonna add it to some ingredients that are already cold when we get to that point. Okay, there we go. I can turn off my water. My steam, look at that. Remember, they started out the dark yellow eggs, and now they're kind of nice light egg. Look at that. A nice little gooiness. This is some I made earlier today. As you can see, what happens with sabayon, it sets up really well. So you get this really nice custard. So good. Yum, that's delicious. Kitus. So what we're going to do next, then I've got some cream cheese. Now we're using cream cheese because I didn't have what is called mascarpone cheese in the store today. So cream cheese isn't quite the perfect substitute, but it's what I substitute with it when I'm in this predicament. So I'm just going to put that on there. I'm basically going to loosen it up, make it so I can add some other ingredients to it. We don't want to try and add ingredients to that big block. We want to loosen it up, make sure that everything can mix with it, and it's going to be ready to go. Dang, that's is good. Mmm. I love it. Okay, next thing. Enough. So what I have here, these are called lady fingers. And what lady fingers are, they're a cookie. They're mostly air. They're like egg whites and probably sugar and I forget what else. They're in there. You basically put them in a pastry bag, you pipe them out, then you bake them and you get these beautiful little cookies. Tasty. They go really good with that sabayon. So what I'm going to do is dump some out. I'm going to layer them in my pan here. And you see, I'm going to do a nice layer across the bottom. And then, look at that, they're too big. So what we do is just break off the ends, make them fit. And then those little pieces you can crumble in later, whatever you want to do. You don't want to throw them out. You can eat them. I'm sure if you have kids at home, you can find somebody that would eat them. All right, these lady fingers, pretty fragile. They break pretty easily, so be careful when you buy them. Don't put them in the bottom of your shopping bag unless you want ladyfinger crumbs. All right, looky there. So, who's that? All right, next thing I'll do is I've got what I made earlier is a little bit of espresso. So the espresso usually is mixed with some kind of alcohol, but we're in a school setting, so we're not adding alcohol to this. So it's just espresso. I have about a cup of it, and I'm just going to brush the top of these. You want to kind of soak them, but you don't want to overly soak them. They'll kind of, if you put too much espresso on them, they get really soft, and they kind of disintegrate. So we don't want that. So I brush a nice coating like this all the way over them, and the espresso, I cooled it off. I made it a little while ago. You can do it earlier. You don't have to have a hot espresso to do this, okay? So look at that. I think that's probably going to cover it pretty nice. Whoa, looky there. Okay, way to go, chef. So now we're going to finish our ingredients here. So I've got, like I said, I have my mascarpone / cream cheese. I make sure I brush it down on the sides, which I just did. Perfect. And then back up it goes. One last spin around the dial. And then a little bit ago, before you knew I was even alive, I made some whipped cream. So I took 2 cups of heavy cream. I just whipped it until I got to a really nice whipped cream position. And that's where we're at. So we have whipped cream. We have the, what do we call it? The cream cheese / mascarpone. We're going to put that all in here. Come on. So I don't know why when we were developing as humans, we weren't given 3 arms. I could do so much more if I had 3 arms. But luckily they gave me this belly because the belly holds everything in place. So see it? It's like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my sabayon, which, is this the right one? Nope, that's the wrong one. Here we go. I'm going to add some of this to my cream cheese. I'm going to actually add all of it in there. And we'll stir that in. Ooh, nice work, chef. Looky there. Is that a nice color we got? Now we have a nice yellowish cream cheese / mascarpone. I'm going to grab that whisk. Really make sure we mix it all in really well together, just like that. Perfect. Okay. And now we have our whipped cream, which remember is 2 cups of whipped cream and whipped. It was unwhipped cream, and then we ended up making it whipped cream, which is kind of how it works. Okay, so you add that in there, and it really kind of like multiplies the sauce in there. See, that sauce is nice and pliable, it's movable, it's perfect. I like how that turned out. So I'm going to grab a spoon, because I like to taste all these things. Delicious. That's perfect. Okay, so now we're ready to assemble the whole tiramisu. How do you do? Okay, so ladyfingers, espresso, our sabayon / whipped cream / mascarpone-ish type mixture right across the top. I'm wondering if I got a deep enough pan. I probably should get a bigger pan, I think, but you know what? Life is like that. Sometimes you don't always do everything perfect, and I am one that doesn't. I promise you. Okay, let's get some more of these lady fingers. We lay them right across. Get it? Lady fingers, lady fingers. Lay them across. I don't know what I'm getting at there. Here we go. Let's do the same thing once again. Break those. I've got some more. Open these up. We're so close to being finished. Just hang on to the edge of your seats. This is getting intense. This is getting out of hand. This is going mental. Okay, look at there. So now 2 layers of lady fingers, which you saw the first one before, then 1 layer of cream, but we'll do more, what do you call this? Espresso. There you go. It's not espresso, it's espresso. Okay, the first espresso machine was made in Italy, for all of you who are wondering where espresso came from. So those Italians, they put it all together with this. They didn't mess around. Okay, there we are, almost done. An espresso, if you have a little bit left, put some ice on it, drink that espresso up. And like I say, some people put rum, some people put Bailey's Irish cream in there. It just depends on what your like is. I just thought espresso and espresso, liquor, and school didn't mix. So we're doing this now. Finishing off just like this. Okay, we'll spread that around. Okay, last thing we do is this will go into the refrigerator because it's got to set up for a while. It's going to set up for a good, I don't know, half hour, 2 hours. Probably overnight would be best, but it's going to be solid. When you're done with it, you're going to cut pieces out of there, and it's going to be so beautiful. You're going to have these different layers. But the last thing you do right before you serve it is this. You have some cocoa powder, so there's no sugar in that. And I'm only doing it now so you see what happens. But you don't do it, it's better not to do this and let it sit, because that cocoa powder kind of gets wet and just sits there. But I'm sure this is going to get eaten today. Okay, so the tiramisu, you finish it. You got cocoa powder in your sifter. You just tap your sifter lightly. You just want a nice little topping like that. Okay, usually I wait till I put it on a plate and then I sift this on there. But there you have a perfect looking tiramisu. It's not set up. It hasn't set up, but let's see. No, see those lady fingers need to kind of soak a little more so they're easier to cut through. So we would, to serve it, we'll come back in a half hour, they say. Okay, look at that. So we're going to end up with 3, 6, 9 perfect, wonderful tiramisus. That's it. That's as simple a dessert. And be careful with that chocolate powder. It can make you cough. But these are so good. All right. So that's it for today in Kaiser's Kitchen. Get in the kitchen, sharpen those knives, send the emails, texts, DMs, IMs, instant messages. I had one from a friend of mine that said, if you can bake, you can do anything. And that's true. I know we didn't actually bake here, but it's the truth. So that one goes out to Andrea. Thank you for your kind remark. And get in the kitchen and just have fun. Cooking is so much fun. Do it.